experiência do estado do Tocantins na parceria privada para
Good
gerar.
morning, everyone. We're going to talk about the Tocantins experience with the private initiative to generate the the carbon reductions. We have this challenge of reducing the GHG, and to start explaining how this process started, I'm going to call the president of Tocantins Parcerias,
Eu vou quebrar o protocolo, Zé. Zé,
Adriano Lacerda.
do Estado, SPI, vou pedir para ele dar contexto
José Humberto,
na empresa, depois a gente entra na
our prosecutor in the state, please come to the stage and talk to us about this before I start. Okay.
Bom dia.
Good morning. My name is José Humberto. Nowadays, I am at the Secretariat of Investments in the state of Tocantins. I also am part of the public prosecutors in the office in the state. And we are today to present this commercial proposal of trade in the jurisdictional market of Tocantins. After many years of work, the Secretariat of Environment identified that the greatest difficulty for any environmental unit or jurisdictional program in the states of the Amazon for trading carbon credit is this legal structure and commercial structure. From that, we understood that we could have some way outs, but that we would have an assumption of not having a direct hiring, of having a public process and competitive process for the integration with the private sector. So we developed a society of specific proposal with this mixed economy society. And from then on, from the public companies, we opened the business opportunity that our colleague Alejandro is going to present. This model of the jurisdictional market is integrating the guidelines from the COP23, the Pollen COP, and the four axis of the Manaus actions, integrating community, government, funding, and private partnerships. And the concept of jurisdictional market is bringing this idea of reducing or mitigating the climate change through the actions or tasks which are varied. So how to reduce the climate change, and the carbon credit trade is an instrument which is healthy for that. So we are away from the regulated market, adapting to the CONAREG points in the Ministry of Environment. So we have the material compass, which is common for the state to develop their programs. So we are providing legal certainty, and we are also catering the interest of the environment, the forest, and traditional communities. So I'll give the floor to Alejandro for him to present what we did at Tocantins Parcerias. Thank you. I thought it was important to listen from José, to listen about the start. So we preside the company called Tocantins Parcerias, and Wanderlei Barbosa was with us at the UN Hub, and he participated in COP 2019. And from then on, he has been making an effort on the issue of climate change. And with that, he promoted this legal framework that enabled us to come to the constitution of our company. So this is a brief history about the constitution of the company. The state has thought about the partnership since has been thinking about that since 2012. In 2020, it established the PPI Tocantins program, and where we promote all the PPP of the states. In January now, we are going to have the bid for the photovoltaic companies. We have the Palmas City Hall and also the mayor who is also present in the COP. We have the privatization of private hospitals, universities, constituting partnerships, and so on. In 2021, after the creation of the PPIs, we enhanced it and enhance the actions of the Tocantins parcerias, including issues such as strategic projects of the government and working with the trade of environmental assets and carbon credits. From 2021, within the structure of Tocantins parcerias, it also started focusing on carbon credit. In March 2022, we also had the amendment of the social statute and also the business plan for the actions to prepare the eligibility and the carbon regime. In August 2022, we were called by the Secretariat of the Environment with Secretary Miyuki and Superintendent Mahali, and Tocantins Parcerias is an arm of the state in several actions, and we were demanded by the environmental chains. So we started recently in September, October, this proposal of public call to select a company at national and state level and international level to sell carbon. And in 2022, in November, we had the partnership with Mercuria creating this company called Tocantins Carbono, an SPE. So what's the difference that is important to highlight? Mixed economy companies is governed by Law 13303 from 2016. That is the same that is regulating Petrobras, for instance, with all the legal structure, with boards and directs, and this instrument is making a difference. This business opportunity, which is within the bylaws according to the law, and we have the economic order as well. The law itself mentions that we have the economic order and the environmental defense principle. So the company has these actions within the environment. And in the Article 173, we have the direct exploration of the economic activity by exercised by, through a state-owned company. So the business opportunity, you may imagine that you have this private initiative going to the market to study who the partners will be, and we might receive partnership proposals. It's very flexible. So what are the competencies? In the second article, we have the economic activity exploration for the state. It can trade or execute and provide services, even construction works, a highway or a bridge, and it has the possibility, according to the law, to connect itself to a financial institution. So the law is authorizing the company to constitute partners in the private sector. So some of the stages of the business, how we got here. The first process, when I received a demand from this environmental chain, well, we advanced in terms of carbon eligibility. 90% of the actions are adaptable. We must have this technical and financial agility so that we can advance with the process. So we had the identification of the business. So we got together with the technical body to study the risk matrix, what the business is, what is the profitability, the financial risks. So we institute this new administrative process to start hiring the SPE. So we published the bid documents with this public call, always guided by the courts of auditors. So with a lot of transparency, and also we had the, the advisory of the Public Prosecution Office, and we engaged several secretaries and SPE and SEMAP in order to analyze all the business. Because when the resource comes, it will engage all the spheres of the state. And with the public call, we had the proposition of three companies. One is British, one is national, and one is Swiss. And they presented their proposals. After this phase, we analyze this public call, and if the partner is proving they have capital to invest in this process, because they must bring resources for investment. So we have the negotiation phase. We spent 2 years discussing the contractual clauses and all the phases of the project. And after this phase, we have the approval by the executive director. So the proposal that was analyzed for 2 days is going to the board. And after being approved, we go to General Assembly of stakeholders, of shareholders, because we have private partners. And after this is approved, we send to the trade office of the state of Tocantins, and we constitute the legal entity. So today, the governor is delivering the contract with the aid of Mercuria, and it's registered in the state of Tocantins, and we created Tocantins Carbono SPE Limited. What is a specific purpose society, an SPE? The federal law enables the constitution of an SPE. So here you have the legal basis. And the second point is the business plan. Every time you have a mandate in the mixed economy, you should develop the future project, what the company is going to execute in the next 2 years. That was planned in 2020 with all the guidelines for execution, among them the trade and all the technical basis for the carbon credit. According to this state law from 2008, law 1917, we had the guidelines for the climate change policy, promoting the action plans using bodies and administration entities, both direct and indirect, so that they can contribute for the deforestation reduction and net emission diminishing. So all the legal framework is established in the state for a while, and we've been working for that. And when we had the public call, we had two objectives. And what did we want from the market? A partner that could execute the measures to structure the state of Tocantins in such a way it would become eligible for the voluntary carbon market, not engaging emission targets according to the NDCs, according to the Paris Agreement. So we are aiming at the effective eligibility of the carbon credit, guaranteeing the sale or purchase of carbon certified from 2016 to 2032. So we have this work of eligibility of carbon credit and then guaranteeing the sale. The financial arrangement within the proposal was who should bear the costs. The partner would pay for 100% of the investments with the environmental chains, that had a budget of 15 million reais, and we have an annex that is explaining all the actions and how it's going to be applied, and the risk is on the partner. So according to the carbon effectiveness, that's okay. And if you don't have a register, the risk belongs to the company. The 15 million capital is directly applied to the execution of the actions. So it's specified in the bylaws where the resources are going to, and then the partner, in the case Mercuria, is going to have the register expenses. So when we take the expense, when we have the expenses, according to the certified carbon, it's going to be paid by the company. So the Tocantins Parcerias will have the technical team, and then after selling the credits, the resources are going to the climate fund. The administration of the SPE now, the SPE is formed by 12 companies. In each one of them, the administrator, for instance, Tocantins Parcerias and Mercúria, they are going to create their representatives. It doesn't have its own administrative body. It's not a new company. It's only a company in contract. So we are going to have all the technicians from Mercuria with us, and also the administrative body from Tocantins Parcerias. So we diminish the costs. And the difference of SPE is that we have this governance committee. All the actions are informed, are discussed with the government's committee, so that both of the administrators do the administration, and then we have the different actions according the carbon. The law established 3 members, but we decided to put 5 members in agreement with the partner so that we could engage more people. The Secretary of Economy, SPE, and Cefaz, Mercuria, and Secretary of Finance. So what we would like to say.
É só isso, mas o interessante é dessa diferença desse processo. É um processo inovador, já coloquei aqui.
This is an innovative process. I said before that this is a process that creates certain legal and administrative innovations. We have the luck of having a serious company, and he and Celsi can talk about the story of Mercuria and why Mercuria chose Tocantins. And in the election year where we had 80% of the approval of the governor's administration, Mercuria trusts Wanderlei Barbosa's administration. Mercuria felt the legal security necessary to be with us. We have to thank the partners, and I continue here if you have any questions. Thank you, Presidente. Mônica de los Rios, please, our partner of Earth Innovation. My name is Mônica de los Rios. I work as a collaboration of Earth Innovation Institute in Brazil. We have followed the jurisdictional partnerships of the Amazon states. We are in the honor of being the technical partner of the state of Tocantins, preparing the state for its jurisdictional approach of RED+. RED+ is a mechanism that is being implemented at the project level. Lots of experiences from many private projects have happened in Brazil and the world that have left a few lessons learned, and the states are moving forward to a jurisdictional approach to reduce risks and negative impacts of the RED mechanism, and it has to be supported by a legal and institutional framework and rules to guarantee safeguards of different sectors that need to be involved in the reduction of the emissions at a state level. The jurisdictional approach allows us to join a series of sectors around a single objective and increase the ambition of deforestation reduction where there's no single private project reducing deforestation in a small space. Now we have a long-term strategy that allows the continuous reduction of emissions in favor of the reduction of deforestation and degradation. Our first contact with Tocantins was the request of technical assistance to think about this long-term strategy, now launched by the state of Tocantins and built at several hands, that will go through a project of consultation and goal building, and that will serve as a basis to generate the goals that will feed those partnerships of Tocantins with several different partners. A jurisdictional RED Plus strategy has to be supported by a series of mechanisms that will guarantee the reductions and the fulfilling of safeguards. Fortunately, we already have globally standards that establish rules on how the jurisdictional safeguards can guarantee their fulfilling, and it's important that the states are prepared to fulfill the criteria that are defined at a jurisdictional level. That is why the work does not have to be fulfilled by the Secretariat, but by many different entities to fulfill the different aspects. Not only deadlines to quantify the reductions, that has several demands to guarantee the quality of the carbon credits, but also the fulfillment of safeguards, because we have safeguards related to transparency, participation, the guarantee of rights on territories, not only for the private property, but also the traditional communities, the indigenous communities, and also the sharing of benefits that have to be shared by all the transforming agencies in the state. So these sharing of benefits still has to go to a process of consultation in partnership with all of the sectors, so that we have to think about how this process can be in a low carbon economy in the state of Tocantins. We have the benefit of being chosen as a technical partner, but this process has to be led by the state. We just provide the technical assistance to cover all the technical aspects and to guarantee that the program is answering a quality that guarantees to the private partner security so that they can invest in the state. There are many challenges, but I believe that it'll be possible to have a jurisdictional system that can increase the scale of the reductions in the state while we preserve the private initiatives in this arrangement, so that we can have the quantities and guarantee the integrity of the initiatives. This is a hard work. The standards are not that simple to be fulfilled. We have a series of requirements. The state has already been working to answer the requirements of the R-TRIS launched in 2020. From the standpoint of safeguards, there's a series of indicators that need to be demonstrated, not only in legal framework to answer the different aspects of the safeguards, but also the whole preparation of the state in terms of procedures that the state needs to have to implement this legal framework, and then demonstrate that this whole legal framework, institutional arrangements, and procedures are under implementation and being used to answer the requirements from different standards. So I'm very happy to know that the state of Tocantins is undergoing this journey, and I'm happy to see the efforts not only from the Secretariat of the Environment, but also the public prosecution and the Court of Auditors that are following this process to guarantee more security, not only governmental security, but from different sectors that need to be involved. I just want now to congratulate the state for the leadership in this process, represented by Marli and Secretary Miyuki, that have demanded a lot of efforts from us and that have kept our foot on the ground. This is an initiative that is carrying out concrete partnerships after 14 years of the beginning of the Governor's Alliance for the Forest. I see Wendell in the audience. I remember when we met Wendell in Indonesia in 2011, trying to see what we needed to do to start those kinds of partnerships and increase the ambition in the reduction of emissions. These partnerships are very welcome, and there's this whole framework that is already established. The signs need to be demonstrated now to keep the political commitment in the different transitions, administrative transitions that we are going through. Thank you very much. Thank you, Monica. The state of Tocantins has a huge challenge. We are being pioneers in this initiative. If it works, everybody can enjoy the lessons learned. If it doesn't work, we are going to receive a lot of criticism and a lot of backlash from being pioneers. But we ask a question here to our selected partner after this public call. I invite here Celso to talk to us now, Celso Fiore from Mercuria. Celso, what made Mercuria believe in a jurisdictional process like this and make previous investments, having the risk of not being able to do this registration and lose this money? Why did you believe in the state of Tocantins? Thank you, Marli. I think the answer to this question is becoming easier and easier as we achieve our goals throughout time. As Marli said, my name is Celso. I represent Mercuria. Mercuria is a trading of energy commodities. It is headquartered in Geneva. It operates in over 25 countries and has energy products, agriculture products in its portfolio, and it is also one of the companies that invests the most and believes the most in the carbon voluntary or regulated carbon markets. My speech is going to be very objective and practical in answering Marli's question, why Mercuria sees a great potential in the state of Tocantins. To answer this question, I ask you another question. What is important for a company like Mercuria for us to take risks with the state? The first thing is transparency. What we're doing here is transparency, listening to the interested parties, listening to the stakeholder, having a diverse environment, the integrity of the credits. What is the integrity of the credits? Representing what they represent. 1 ton of avoided emissions. And that is why we have international standards. Credibility. Credibility is in the application of the resources. Having those resources reverted to the actions that are going to generate the virtuous cycle of environmental representations and the efforts of everyone involved. Legal security, that is paramount. That is something that we discuss a lot in the private environment. The private environment, one of the points of insecurity is the political cycle that changes every 4 years. For the company, this is an inherent risk to the business. We understand that a legal framework that is well designed brings us a certain type of indexation, a certain type of long-term security, and mitigates the risks of the political cycle. And lastly, the long term. We have to see the commitments of the state. And that is the objective answer. That is what Mercuria sees, and that is why it is taking this risk. And what Mercuria offers, why a company like Mercuria should take part in a process like this. Mercuria brings agility to the process. It's a company that is agile. It can work in an optimized manner. We have technical support. We have incredible technicians like the Earth Innovation Institute. We have commercial capacity. Today, Mercuria commercializes technical products for clients all over the world. Budget security, that is a key point. It is a project that has costs before, during, and after. So Mercuria brings this security. It may have surprises, but Mercuria can help the state guarantee this budget security throughout the project. And lastly, and most importantly, this is a program from the state and to the state. This is not a program from the company. And the company brings this characteristic of taking the financial risks. This is what Mercuria adds to the process. This is always going to be from the state to the state. And if it's not like this, it doesn't work. Using the words by Alejandro and Marli, this was built to fulfill this objective, and that is why we believe. This was my answer, and I pass the floor back to you, Marli.
Você fique aqui.
Celso, please stay. We would like to invite Henrique Aderiu. Did I pronounce correctly your last name? Wonderful. So that we can have the official delivery of the bylaws of the partnership between Topar and Mercury. I will call Secretary Miyuki and Secretary Jairo to receive the document. It's the bylaws of the Tocantins Carbono Company. So I would like you to wrap up the event after that, answering the questions from the team. Please hand the bylaws. Let's take a picture. Congratulations. I'm telling Henry that Jairo is representing Governor Wanderlei Barbosa. This is the legal entity document with all the deeds and bylaws registered in Tocantins, and Eric lives in Geneva, and he's going to hand to the partner in Geneva. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to work with you, beginning this journey together. It's going to be a complicated journey, but we must have this initial work to show it's a potential for other states and countries in the world. So I'm very happy to be with you in this journey. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to give the floor to Secretary Miyuki for the final remarks. Once more, I'd like to greet everyone here. I'd like to thank the presence of our representative Eduardo and Marta from the ministry, who has always helped a lot. And thank you so much. I would like to greet and thank the Legal Amazon Consortium and the Secretary from Pará. And I'd like to say that the state is very proud to be able to have this first pre-negotiation in this first moment. And we hope that everything will be more concrete, bigger, and faster, because all administrations have a short time, and sometimes the negotiations take too long. And it's complicated because after a second administration, everything starts all over again. So if we're able to close in such a way that everything can happen for real, so that we can transform our states with our programs, more resources, more strength, showing that the environment in each state is strong, it would be wonderful to us. So we thank you from the bottom of our heart, and we are willing to do our part in preserving our climate. Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. If you want to ask a question about the legal certainty of the process, about the economic and legal arrangement, please feel free to do so. If there's no question, I'd like to thank you, and let's close this panel.